Welcome, my friend, to the 6th episode of the Director's Treatment Masterclass, in which I'm going to teach you the most important skill that you can master as a filmmaker, and that is selling your creative vision and ideas to clients using director treatments. Now, the 6th episode, in which I'm going to teach you, I'm going to show you how to write a treatment from scratch. So, without further ado, let's dive into my computer and into this tutorial and the 6th chapter of this masterclass. So we are inside my computer writing a treatment. So the tutorial, the last episode was the foundationals, the theory behind writing a treatment, some stuff that you need to know. And this one will be a deep dive into writing something from scratch. Now, before I dive in, let me quickly recap once more. Where do we stand in this course? What have we learned so far, and what topics have I covered? So everything is fresh on top of mind. So once again, I have over 10 years of experience of filmmaking. I have over 10 years of filmmaking experience and 300 million views on my work, but I have no Oscars or Emmys on the shelf. So you don't have to agree with everything that I'm sharing, but if you can take away one helpful tip from this video or from this masterclass to help you get a new client, it will be worth it, because you only need one simple learning from this masterclass that can get you the new client, and the work that you have done for this client will attract other clients who like what you've done for the previous client, and then you have this ripple effect and everything, the snowball starts rolling, and everything originated hopefully from something that you have learned from this course. But once again, I am no guru, I am no pitching guru, I'm just a regular guy, a very average filmmaker with just some experience and a track record, and I hope that you will be able to learn something from this course that will help you accelerate your career in the right direction. So, with that said, next one. So in order to succeed, we need to think like a business. So not like an artist, but like a business. So to succeed in pitching your ideas as a work-for-hire filmmaker, you need to think of yourself as the CEO of your filmmaking business. The goal is then to focus on getting money into the business by solving other people's problems. So people always say, let's make some money, but we cannot make money, we cannot print money. Only government institutions can do that. And so how do we actually get money into your business? And that is by solving other people's problems and not by making art. Of course, you can follow that path, but if you want to succeed as a work for hire, so other people hire you to work for them, then thinking like a business and thinking as a CEO of your business, or not as a freelancer, not as an artist, but as a CEO who thinks about how can I get money into the business by solving other people's problems, and then having a problem-solving mindset when it comes to filmmaking as well. So not just about how can we get to set up this light in the most beautiful way possible, but how can I help my clients achieve the goals that they are looking for. Then pitching is presenting how you can solve a client's problem and get them the outcome they are looking for. So this is your treatment is a pitching tool to help you present your solution and get the client the outcome that they are looking for. So it's not just a fancy document with beautiful reference images and a cool ID. It is your tool to present a solution to the problem. Then, in order to present a solution to a problem, we first have to identify what the problem really is. So we need to identify the problem first. The key to a good pitch is understanding someone's problem before you prescribe them a solution. Once you know why it needs solving and what your solution needs to help achieve, the how becomes easy. So artists don't just want a music video, they want to reach a larger audience. Creative agencies don't just want a cool commercial, they are looking for a director to bring their idea to life in order to get their client the outcome that they are looking for. Yeah. So identify the problem first. How do we do this? By asking many questions and think like a doctor. How can I help you? How can I make you better? How can I get you the outcome that you're looking for? And then in your scala of filmmaking tools and ideas, find a way to help them get the outcome that they are looking for. Then next one, confidence. People will hire you if they are confident that you'll deliver the results they want, so they won't lose their money or worse, their jobs. To convey confidence in your pitch, your treatment should include 3 essential elements: trust, belief, and proof. So somebody hires you when they are confident that you will get them the outcome that they are looking for. You go to the doctor and you proceed with the operation when you feel confident that they can help you make better. Works the same for filmmaking. Now, to instill this trust, belief, and proof, clients must trust you as a capable expert who can solve their specific problems. They need to believe your solution will get them the outcome they are looking for, backed up by proof that you have solved similar problems before. Now, how do we get this trust, belief, and proof in your pitch? And that is by answering 6 questions. So to effectively convey trust, belief, and proof, your treatment should answer 6 critical questions. Who are you? What problem do you solve? How will you solve the problem? Where will you solve the problem? When will the problem be solved? And why should I hire you to solve the problem as fast as possible? Now, last one. Before we dive into this tutorial. And that is what a lot of people experience. You know, they go through all the steps, they have analyzed the brief, they have had a client conversation, they have a problem-solving mindset. They know that the framework to get the outcome, or to create a treatment that presents the outcome that the client is looking for. They experience something that is called a writer's block, and that is that they don't know how to actually start writing. Now, I will dive deeper into this episode, how to get something on the page as fast as possible. But the art of writing is beating the writer's block as fast as possible. And writing is all about rewriting. So the goal of writing a treatment is to start as fast as possible instead of waiting for the perfect idea to arrive. I used to do this so many times, and I've heard this from other people as well, is that they sometimes wait for 2 weeks to deliver a treatment. But you can imagine, most of the time, treatments arrive at very inconvenient times. There is always a lot of time pressure involved. So the faster you can get something across the table and present a solution to the problem, the higher the chances are that you will actually win the pitch. So I will show you in this video how you can leverage template text and ChatGPT and other tools to get something on across the table as fast as possible. Then some writing tips. So when you come up with a solution, you have to promise only what you can deliver in exchange for the budget, and use lots of visually descriptive language to describe your vision and ideas while framing how all your creative choices help to achieve the client's desired outcome. So if you want to work with a celebrity stars or with influencers, or you have a specific, you want to work with wild animals because the project requires that, or you want to shoot with live ammunition or whatever, make sure that it is actually achievable within the budget guidelines that you are given, because otherwise it will be it won't be a good client experience for the people that hire you. So realistic stuff, use a lot of visually descriptive words instead of car. Say a car that could be in the garage of James Bond with its beautiful sleek lines and curvy edges. Something like this. So a lot of descriptive words to describe, to create an image in someone's mind of how the thing actually looked like that you envision. And then how not to write. So what we want to avoid is jargon and overusing references. You are the expert, not them. So what we want to avoid is a lot of filmmaking terms, because the other person that you are pitching to might not be familiar with the terms of filmmaking. And you want to avoid overusing references. So for you, it might be logical to reference to Christopher Nolan's latest movie. But if you don't know who Christopher Nolan is or his latest movie, or you haven't seen it, then the whole reference falls apart, and it makes the other person feel a little bit left out or stupid. And that's not what we want. We want to be on the same level, and we want to give people the idea that you understand them and they feel confident in hiring you as the problem solver. Now, this is where we stand, the theory behind all of this, and now we are going to dive finally into writing a treatment. So here is what I'm going to cover in this episode. So first, I'm going to talk about a few very important things about writing treatments. Then how to write a solicited pitch, how to write for an unsolicited pitch, and a quick summary at the end. Now, as always, If you want to get access to all the secret stuff that I don't share anywhere else, be one of the first to get notified when I upload a new video, when I have discounts for all the stuff in my store, etc. Subscribe to my newsletter, because here is where I share all the secret stuff. Then follow me everywhere you like for exclusive content, and the handle is @RobinPiré. And I need your help. As explained a few times already, I would love this course to be the go-to source when you are pitching ideas, because believe it or not, I still receive emails from people who found my website, found my videos, and tell me, man, I wish I had found your stuff before, because last week I pitched for a project and lost it, and now with this new approach that you have learned me so far, I feel more confident in approaching that job with a different mindset. So please share this course. I need your help. Let's change people's lives together. Let's change this annoying part of the film industry together. And change the approach so we can all have a flourishing business. That is my personal goal with this. Quick warning though, this is the most important video of the entire course at this stage, so watch it from beginning to end without skipping any parts. I highly recommend, if you haven't watched the first 5 episodes before, give those a spin before diving deeper into this one. I'll put a link up there to all the individual videos, or you can check them out in the description below. But at this stage, first master all the foundationals that I've outlined in the previous videos, and then dive deeper into this one. And a pro tip, save yourself some time, watch the thing in double speed, and you'll fly through all the all the theory and the video. So this one, writing treatments, the tutorial. How are we going to write a treatment? So first of all, I want to highlight that there is, unfortunately, no one-size-fits-all. So unfortunately, there is no one-size-fits-all formula for using a set of words that guarantees you'll win every pitch. Every problem is unique, so each solution and its presentation must be customized to fit. This is why there is no set amount of slides that you have to use. There is no set amount of words that you have to use. There are only guidelines. But at the end of the day, everybody is busy. Everybody wants to see what they can get as fast as possible. So I'd say make it as short as possible, as long as it needs to be. And I'll dive deeper into writing in a minute. But unfortunately, there is no one-size-fits-all formula. So you can have one treatment or one template, but you have to tailor it to every job. So what is there is a success framework. So every successful treatment or pitch answers 6 key questions: who, what, how, where, when, and why. Providing clear answers to these questions helps build the client's confidence that you are the right person for the job. So whether you are pitching solicited or unsolicited, answer the 6 questions, and the client has all the information they need, or to realize that you are a low-risk, high-reward decision to work with. What to write? If you want to know what to write, simply ask the client what information they need to decide who to hire for the project. So instead of making assumptions about what you think should be in the treatment or what you think you should write about, just ask them, what do you need to know from my side in order to decide who to hire with, or who to hire for the project? What informations do you need? What questions do you want me to answer within the treatment? And if you do that, and maybe add a few more for your own convenience, or because you know that the treatment will also be a guiding tool for the crew going into the project, and you want to highlight specific things regarding the art direction or the editing or whatever, then that is the way forward. So that is how to decide what to write about. If you don't have the opportunity to ask, you can make it as detailed as you like. But I would highly suggest, when you are writing treatments, ask them what they want to know and go from there. And I want to highlight as well that the best books are labeled best selling author and not best writing author. The goal of your treatment is to get hired, not to present your rich vocabulary. So although it is very nice to create a very fancy document with lots of expensive and difficult wording, and using references and lots of industry jargon to show off that you know what you are talking about. It doesn't work that way. If somebody doesn't understand what you're saying, a confused client doesn't buy. So the goal is to get hired. So make it as easy to understand as possible. And I'll show you in a minute as well how we can use tools like ChatGPT to make sure that your treatment is perceived the way it should. So now we are going to talk about how to write for a solicited pitch. So quickly reminder, solicited pitch means when somebody has a problem and asks you for help, the goal of your treatment is to present a clear solution that solves the problem and gets the client the outcome they are looking for. So this is a creative agency that reaches out, or your production company asking you if you would be interested in pitching for the creative agency to bring their idea to life, or to come up with a commercial idea, or to come up with a music video idea for an artist or music label, or to come up with a documentary approach or a movie approach. So someone has a problem and they are looking for the problem solver. This is a solicited pitch. And solicited pitches always start with a creative brief. So at the start of a solicited pitch, you'll receive a creative brief. This brief, combined with a client conversation, will form the creative guidelines for your solution and help you decide what to write about. So always, if there is no creative brief, ask them. Just at the beginning of each of these solicited pitches, ask for as much information as possible, because otherwise any and everything is possible. You want to like filter it down what it needs to be. And this is, I'll show in a minute how creative briefs can look like, so you get an idea, because there are many different ways of receiving a creative brief. And what is also very important to do is, because in creative briefs there is always a lot of room for interpretation. So creative briefs often use vague terms. It is important to ask questions to understand the client's true vision. For example, if a client says it needs to look cool, ask them to describe what cool means to them, as your interpretation might differ. Let them clarify, because otherwise, again, it is assumptions, and assumptions are the mother of all fuck-ups. So that's what you want to avoid as much as possible. So ask questions when you receive the creative brief. So creative brief, and then distill what it is about, and jump on a call as fast as possible after receiving the brief. That is not always possible, as I have outlined in some of the previous episodes, but asking questions is pivotal in creating a solution for a problem. Now, how a creative brief could look like, it can be as simple as an email like this one, or it can be a little bit more fancy, like this one, which is basically an email in a document with a few images, or it can be very fancy, and this is, for example, a creative brief I received a few years ago from a creative agency that did a commercial campaign, like for a TV commercial, and this was also for offline, so for bus stations, etc. And they asked me to pitch my creative vision to bring their idea to life. So it can be an email, a document, a pitch deck, many different ways of receiving a creative brief. But here you have some sort of idea of how things can look like. Now, to help you gather all the necessary information from a creative brief and client conversation, I've created a template for you. This template can help you gather all the input you need to answer the 6 questions. So this template, you can download it for free or copy the text, whatever you like, via the link in the description below. So this is what that looks like. So we first want to gather as much project details, and then the objectives, etc. A little bit about the clients, some creative guidelines that you need to consider, and production constraints, inspiration. So what you want to do is during the client call, ask them as much questions as possible, so you can like fill in the blanks within these so you can sort of basically remove all these specific text, and they don't have to have an answer to anything, but it's I think it's good to have a conversation about how do you envision the visual style, how do you envision the mood and tone, or what does it need to be, and why is very important with this one. That's also why everything mentions why those are important, because when you understand the why, if they mention, well, the mood and tone of this project needs to be colorful, and then the goal is to ask them why that is colorful, and then they might say, well, because the target audience really relates to colorful stuff, or this is the brand aesthetic, or many different ways, many different options here. Then you can better formulate how your creative decisions should support that goal. So the why is very important. And then let me show you how to write a treatment for a solicited pitch using a template text and ChatGPT. Now for this one, I created a fake commercial brief as a not as fancy as the pitch deck, but just to give you an idea of how something like this could look like. So this is a creative brief for Superphone X. It is a commercial. The first step I would highly recommend, because you might receive this treatment with a budget, deadline, etc., or not. It can also be just a rundown or breakdown of the story and some visuals, just like the pitch deck that I just showed you. And some creative requirements, you might pick those up while you are having a conversation, because the creative agency might, they might say some words or emphasize on a very strong, they might have a very strong opinion about the voiceover, for example, like a clear, confident, aspirational tone of voice that enhances the visual storytelling. Again, a lot of vague terms. So what does confident and aspirational mean to them? So those are all kind of questions that you want to ask during a client conversation. But in this case, let's go with this for now. And what we are going to do is we are going to use the templates as a sort of blueprint for to start writing. So what we are going to do is we are going to copy all of this text, and we are going to go to ChatGPT, and we are going to prompt it by saying, I'm going to give you a template text, but don't do anything with it until the next prompt. Here is the text. And now we are going to copy the creative brief, and we're going to ask it to fill in the template text based on the creative brief. I'm going to give you a creative brief for a commercial. I want you to use the template text above and fill in all the placeholder text based on the creative brief outlined below. So now it's going to create or fill in the project brief template for this project, and this will help us to start writing. To have the bounce board of beating the writer's block as fast as possible. Now, in the meantime, I also created a solicited pitch template text, which you can also find, just like the others, just below in the description of this video. And now what we are going to do is we are going to copy all of this text and ask it to fill in all the placeholder text based on the data that it has just given us. So I'm going to give you a template text for a director's treatment. Please fill in all the blanks based on the all the placeholders. Placeholders based on the creative brief outlined above. Now, you can also just use the creative brief from the start, but I always like to copy this. Project brief template, file, This is Google Docs, by the way. It's free. It works in the cloud, which I highly recommend because if my computer just has a meltdown at this moment, it is always saved in the cloud. And it is always accessible from even from my phone, and I can work basically everywhere around the world. Now, I haven't read this text yet. It might not perfectly align, but just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to continue with this for now. Now, I've given it the prompt to fill in all the chapters from for my director's treatment, and here it is going to do that for me. So to break the writer's block, we want to get something on the paper as fast as possible, because I have experienced it that it's so much easier to just get started. It is always nicer to bounce off of something instead of just keep staring at a blank page and hoping for the perfect idea to arise. Because my approach to this project might be that I would love to film everything within one continuous take. That might be a director's approach. Or if I want to make it look like everything was shot from the phone's perspective, or there are many different ways that you can bring this story to life, and every approach is different to a different person. So, but it is this is a very nice way to have something on the paper to get started. Now, what it has done, it has filled in all the blanks, or at least most of them. So, and it has included like all the chapters from the template text. So it also included timelines, etc. And these art direction things might not be what you envision, but then you can modify this text in a way that it aligns with the ideas that you have in your mind. So this is, by the way, also something that I always recommend using at the end. So just don't end your treatment with thank you. End it with a disclaimer mentioning that the document is property of your company. And, it doesn't mean anything to the people that you are pitching to, but including it shows a form of professionalism, and, maybe it prevents one case of not sending them or distributing your treatment across the world, or stealing your ID, or it just I would highly recommend including one. So it has basically filled in all the blanks, or at least as much as possible. So we can copy this, open a new file, and now we have some text to bounce our ideas off. Now, what you might notice is that it doesn't really align with the way you write, or that it's just too static, or too formal, or too stiff. Something that I always like to do as well, and see what ChatGPT comes up with, is ask it to rewrite it with a witty tone of voice. So rewrite the text above with a witty tone of voice, or you can also prompt it to make it more witty. And you'll notice that it will start using lots more of visually descriptive words, which I highly recommend. And it adds a bit of juice to the treatment. So I highly recommend just give it a try. Try different prompts or different writing styles, or as you can see here at the beginning, first it was so hey, my name is, and I specialize in helping brands. Over the past X years, I have done this and that. And the new version, the more witty version, makes it, hey, I'm your go-to guru for turning tech dreams into stunning visual realities. I specialize in crafting commercials that don't just sell products, they tell stories. So you sense there is just more flair to what you've written. And this way, you can also do exactly the same with this. You copy all the text that it has generated, and then you refine it into whatever your idea is. You can even prompt it and say, well, this is my approach. Make sure to infiltrate it. It's just about, playing around with ChatGPT, see what it comes up with, and aligning that with the human approach that you have in your mind. So that's for now, because I like what it has done. Copy this text, because in the next video, I'm going to dive in the foundationals of designing a treatment, and then in the video after that, I'm going to do a tutorial on designing the actual treatment. And I will use this exact example for creating the treatment. So for now, I'll go with this one. I'll call it the Superphone X commercial. Superphone X commercial. So here you basically have your entire treatment written in words. So you have something to bounce your ideas off, something that helps you beat your writer's block. So what it does is it answers the 6 questions. So who are you? Introduction, project summary. So what is the problem that we are going to solve? Dive a little bit deeper here. So problem, solution, outcome, logline. So a short summary of what this thing is, and then an approach. And like I said, this might not be the approach that you have. You might choose or prefer to shoot everything from a specific angle or specific cinematic style or whatever. This is just to help you on your way and use the template texts to get the ball rolling. And to understand what the project actually needs to do, we have to frame everything in a way that it solves the client's problem. So this is, in the most simplest form, how you can write a treatment as fast as possible, because speed matters. And yes, you can have different approaches, and it might take some time to come up with a cool approach, but this is something that will develop most likely in your mind during a client conversation or based on the client's needs, etc., or the things they say or the things that they add value to. So ask a lot of questions during the client call, discover their why. Why is this and that important for them? Why? What is cool like to you? What is cinematic? All these vague terms, you want to define what those answers are. And within this project brief template, you can use those, make here final no's, selection criteria, ask them how are you going to select who to work with, what is important, what are the decision-making criteria, and are there specific treatment format requirements or things that you need to include. Just go through all of this, use it with you when you have a client conversation in person or online or via video call, doesn't really matter. And just have a conversation from human to human, so you know exactly, so you can filter down, so it all comes down to what it needs to be. And then you can give ChatGPT the prompt of creating of using this one, the solicited pitch template text. So you have something. So you have something to bounce your to bounce off of and beat your writer's block. All right. So this is how we write a treatment from scratch. And the important thing with writing is to frame everything in a way that it helps the client get the outcome that they are looking for. So if they want something that is fast-paced, make sure that, for example, in the editing, you don't say the editing will be fast-paced. Ask them during the client conversation, why does it need to be fast-paced? Because the audience is young people who are very used to having fast-paced content because they have short attention spans. So in order to formulate, and then the goal is to formulate your editing in a way that it aligns with the goal of appealing to that specific audience. So the editing will be fast. We will use these and these transitions. We will use these and these effects. We will use that and that editor who has had a success tracker of winning a lot of con lines for their editing for fast-paced content to help you achieve the goal of reaching that specific target audience. So framing. All right. Then we are going to dive into how to write for an unsolicited pitch. Now you might say, Robin, well, this is the director's treatment masterclass, right? So why are we going to do it for an unsolicited pitch? Because with the director's treatment, essentially is you are pitching your way how you would treat the project opportunity, and not how we would pitch a film idea or a documentary idea to investors, right? So isn't a treatment also part, or can it also not be part of a film pitch? Yes. But I believe so many people struggle with this as well. And essentially, the goal is the same. The goal of a treatment or a pitch is to have the other person take action. And the action most of the time is hiring you in exchange for the budget, or giving you the money and let you create the movie. And in order to do that, you have to present a solution to solve someone's problem, or to present a great business opportunity in order for them to make a good return on their investment. So I think it more or less fits in the same lane. And that's why I wanted to highlight it as well within this project. So an unsolicited pitch, once more, is when a business doesn't have a problem or doesn't know it has a problem, and your goal is to show them a great business opportunity. Your pitch should clearly explain how their business can profit from the investment in your project or idea. So this is you having a great film idea, and to explain how it shouldn't be done, I received an email the other day from a guy who said, I have a great idea. No one has ever heard of this idea before. Give me 50,000 euros and then I'll tell it to you. See, this is not how it is done. First of all, because I don't have any interest in buying ideas. I have no interest in bringing those ideas to life. I'm interested in helping people like you succeed. So, of course, I didn't. It was not what I wanted. So, a failed pitch. So that is not how we want to approach pitching. And I'm going to show you how to do it the right way. And the downside of an unsolicited pitch compared to a solicited pitch is that there is no creative brief. So there are usually no creative guidelines when making an unsolicited pitch. This gives you more creative freedom, but requires you to research the business model of the business you're pitching for. Without this research and aligning your ideas with your audience's business goals, your pitch won't be valuable to them. So when we go back to one of the first chapters in which I outlined and explained how business actually works, and that is by solving other people's problems. So your idea becomes valuable to them. So when something is not valuable to me, I am not willing to pay or to give this person 50,000 euros. But if he would have done research in my business model, and let's say I was a film company or a production company or a film investor who was looking for ideas, and he would have pitched it in a way, in the way that I'm going to show you right now, then there would have been a higher chance of success. But right now, the pitch of him having a great idea and asking for 50,000 euros, it wasn't valuable for me. There was no clear outcome. I didn't saw his idea as valuable, and that's why I didn't invest it in giving 50,000 euros. Let me show you within a tutorial how to write a treatment for an unsolicited pitch using template text and ChatGPT again. So we go back. Let me quickly close this one. So this is the project brief template from the Superphone X, a creative brief, Superphone X, solicited pitch. All right, unsolicited pitch templates. Also, these files, you can all find them below. I will also include the Superphone X brief, etc. But for this one, I created a fictive investor profile. So let's say I have an idea to pitch a great horror series. So we first need to find those people or those companies that might be interested in our ideas. Now, most of the time, these investors are sort of in a closed-off world. You cannot just pitch an idea to Netflix. You need entrances like production companies or creative or agencies or filmmaking agents or lawyers. Depends on the part of the world where you are located or where the investor is located. But I would, just for the sake of this video, let me give you an investor profile. So a fake film investor that I would have access to via a production company or whatever. So I created this fake investor profile of Luminary Media Ventures. So a little background. Luminary Media Ventures, LMV is a well-established film investment firm based in Los Angeles, specializing in financing independent and breakthrough films with a strong potential for critical acclaim and commercial success. With a decade of experience in the film industry, LMV prides itself on discovering and nurturing talented filmmakers who bring fresh perspectives and innovative storytelling to the screen. So a lot of blah, blah, blah about the company doesn't really matter to us. But they pride themselves into nurturing talented filmmakers. So that is good for us. Now, investment focus. So LMV is looking to expand its portfolio by investing in film projects so this might be something that you have picked up somewhere in a conversation or during a network event or from somebody or they might even have this on their website, you never know. That they are looking to invest in expanding their portfolio of film projects. So they are looking for projects that are driven by unique, compelling stories with a broad audience appeal. So unique stories, but broad audience appeal, that is the key word here, because a large audience means a large number of people will highly likely sign up to the broadcasting platform or to buy a ticket to the cinema. So there is a higher chance of getting a return on the investment. Now, showcase diverse perspectives and talent both in front of the camera and behind, have the potential for multiple revenue streams, including theatrical releases, streaming services, and international sales. So they are highly focused on investing in projects that have a broad audience and basically have a highly likelihood of getting a return on their investment because they are an investment firm. Just like Paramount, Universal, 20th Century Fox, those are all investment firms like banks. They put money into something with the hopes of getting a return on that money, just like the bank lends out money for mortgages and makes money via the interest rates. Now, their current challenges, the recent shift in consumer market behavior towards streaming platforms has prompted LMV to seek projects that can perform well, both in theaters and on digital platforms. So again, they are looking for something that can be distributed across multiple channels. There is a growing demand for content that resonates with global audiences, yet finding universally appealing stories remains a challenge. Balancing artistic integrity with commercial viability in film projects is increasingly complex. So this might not be something that they have on their website, but I have included it for now. Now, the opportunity for filmmakers who can present projects that address these challenges and align with LMV's investment focus have a higher chance of securing funding. Projects that demonstrate a clear understanding of market trends, audience preferences, and potential revenue models will stand out. So these are market trends, audience preferences, and potential revenue models. Again, they are looking for great investment opportunities. They are not looking for a great film idea or great series. They are looking for great project for to invest in it, to make money. Because at the end of the day, their business is also in business to get money in. So what they are looking for: project viability, audience engagement, financial projection, and a creative vision. So this is the stuff that they want to see in their pitch, which is very nice to know, of course. And again, these things might not be available in written word for you, but I highly likely there is a highly likelihood that this is all the stuff that investors want to see at the end of the day. If I tell you this crypto coin is a great investment, then you probably also want to know some sort of the fundamentals about why that is a great investment. And then some submission guidelines. Proposals should include a detailed pitch presentation, script or treatment, preliminary budget, marketing and distribution plan, and any preliminary casting or crew attachments. LMV values thoroughness and creativity in the submissions it considers. So a lot of data, a lot of great information to work with. Now, what we have so far is an investor profile, and now we are going to create, or now what I have done is I have created a fictive film concept for a series called Sound of Justice. Now let me go through what I have come up with, or some of the texts and some of the resources that you can use as well. So instead of just saying, well, I have this cool idea of a horror movie, I want to create something in the investor, or I want to serve the investor something based on the profile, the fictive profile that I've just created, that matches with what they are looking for. So they are looking for great investment opportunity to speak to a broad audience across multiple channels, probably globally. So Sound of Justice is a gripping crime drama series inspired by the widely popular podcast Silence Secrets, started by two friends, Alex and Jamie, who both lost their parents in an unsolved crime and became amateur detectives in Detroit for its high rate of unsolved crimes. Over the last 5 years, their quest to uncover the truth behind local cold cases has captivated 75 million listeners worldwide, with an average of 5 million monthly downloads. The series will dramatize their investigation, blending real case files with fictional elements to deepen the narrative intrigue. Now, for an investor, this is very, very interesting because there already is a established audience of 75 million people, and they engage with the series because they download episodes at least 5 million times. So we can tick off the first box of having a broad audience across the world, so there is a very high likelihood of this audience being interested in watching the series or buying a ticket or interacting with all the stuff that you can create around this series. So this is from an investor's point of view, a very interesting opportunity already within the first 2 paragraphs. Now, some extra metrics, because data is proof, as I mentioned, also for you as a director in your director's treatment. So global reach, 75 million listeners around the world, with a strong following in the United States, Canada, UK, and Australia. Monthly downloads, 5 million, with consistent year-on-year growth by 20%. Demographic, core listeners, 18 to 44, with a near even gender split and a high engagement rate among true crime and mystery enthusiasts. And on social media engagement, so there is another million followers across different platforms, with high interactions rates during podcast release cycles. So even more data that shows the investor that it ticks off the audience existence, and therefore the likelihood of an existing audience being interested in whatever that you are going to invest in is a very positive signal. This is why Harry Potter series are being created. This is why the movies for Harry Potter were so successful, because there was already a book with a massive following. So everything, when you are pitching for an unsolicited pitch, everything revolves around risk reduction. And the bigger the existing audience, so the higher the chances of making return on the investment is good. Now, then I've pulled some data from this website. They have a free profile, but doesn't really give the right data. But if you, for example, go to Crime Podcast, which I did for this one, then you can find data regarding target audiences, crime, true crime, and law podcasts. There is a very detailed report that you can download. Yes, this costs a lot of money for a PDF document, but if this helps to secure the funding for this project, then $500 is an easy investment. So yeah, these are the stats that I downloaded, that I've included in this film concept. But here you can see all the data that this report gives you access to. And we can go horror movies, and then target audience, horror movie fans, and then you can pull data, because data is proof. The more data you can present when you are pitching to an investor, the better. So you can try this out. I don't know how good these reports are. I haven't downloaded them myself. I haven't paid $500 because I am not pitching for a a true crime podcast, film, or TV series. But if you are, give it a chance and let me know in the comments how it worked out. But so we are going to cross-sell this project to engage with different audiences. So podcast to series conversion, utilizing the podcast existing audience to promote the series through exclusive sneak peeks, bonus content linked to episode releases and crossover episodes to tie into the series storyline. So leveraging the robust social media following to engage fans, using live tweets during episodes, fan polls, behind the scenes content, developing story arcs, the beginning of the podcast, extending the series and further explore in books, creating a comprehensive narrative universe. Now, if you want to dive more into this specific stuff, because I think this is the future for filmmakers, I highly recommend reading the book by Houston Howard called You Need a Big Story. It's a red book with a big fish in the front on the cover. And he dives deeper into this cross-media approach. He also has some videos on YouTube, which I highly recommend watching from Film Courage. I'll link to those up there or below as well, in which he explains how you can pull people in from people who only are interested in reading books, how you can get them interested in a movie, or people who only watch YouTube videos, how you can get them interested in the books, and then you hide a clue in the book or in the video that is linked to a different story in the book, and then you create this multi-platform world, which is again super exciting for an investor. So they are not just investing into a film project; they are investing in not like a Disney franchise, but they are more like like a sort of an entire universe of how they can make money, which is also for you as a filmmaker, it's very exciting because you can just essentially keep telling stories on stories and use this character or this person who popped up in the movie. Halfway through, we can expand on their origin story, or the amount of possibilities is limitless. And also what is very exciting within this case as well is because there are already two people with an existing audience involved, they have a lot of rights for the intellectual property, so they can demand that they have a final say in how it looks or how it feels, or percentages of revenue streams, instead of just presenting them. Well, this is my script. I'm looking for so much money for the creation of that script, and then the investor will say, okay, well, I am taking all the risk here, so all the money ends up in my pocket. But if you can give something of value, like an existing audience, then it's more likely to be a shared revenue stream. So now, well, when it comes to revenue streams, you can do ad sales, streaming licenses, merchandising, books, interactive apps, and then, of course, you can dive deeper into the numbers, which, of course, is very interesting for an investor. And then an ask, so asking for 10 million. I'll link to this document in the description below as well, so you can go through it yourself. And then a call to action, so why it is important to act fast, urgency as well. So this is not the urgency of you as a filmmaker, but the urgency of the opportunity of investing into this project. So what we are going to do now is we take the investor's profile, we go to ChatGPT, we say, so I'm going to give you an investor profile for a film pitch. Don't do anything with it until the next prompt. Then we are going to take the film concepts. I'm going to give you a film ID for an unsolicited pitch, but don't do anything with it until the next prompt. Then we can use the project brief templates. Fill in the project brief template outlined. Fill in all the placeholders in the project brief outlined below based on the two projects film on the based on the investor's profile and film ID outlined above. And then we are going to go to the unsolicited pitch template text, which I also have included in the link below. And then we're going to copy this, go to ChatGPT, and we're going to say, Phil, I'm going to give you a template text for an unsolicited pitch for a film TV series. Fill in all the blanks for based on the project brief outlined above. There you go. Now again, the text might not perfectly align with what you have in mind, or your approach, or your information, but again, it is very nice to bounce ideas off something that is already in place. So just see what it comes up with, and then go from there. Also with this one, when it's if you don't like what it actually came up with, use the prompt of asking it to rewrite the whole text in a more witty tone of voice, which I will do in a second. All right, so it has finished creating a more witty version. Some parts came out pretty nice, others didn't. You can always give it another prompt to regenerate it. I will include the outcome of all of this in the description below, so you can go through it. But not everything aligns perfectly, especially, for example, the scenes in the story. You might dive deeper into this, and this is a lot of text. An investor might not be looking for this, but as the fictive investor profile that I have created especially mentioned this to be thorough, I did it this way. You can include as many chapters as you like, take out as many chapters as you like, but just utilize the help of ChatGPT to get something on the paper as fast as possible, because speed is your friend at all times. And it helps you to beat your writer's block so much better. So for example, this might be more interesting compared to the introduction of what it initially came up with, which might be a little bit more static or too formal, or try to find a way or a tone of voice that suits your writing style, and see what it comes up with. And this is how you write an unsolicited pitch using all these different tools and techniques. You can, once this is finished, again, I highlighted this in the previous video as well, you can use a tool like Grammarly, create a new file. I have included a link in the description below as well, where you can get 1 month of free premium Grammarly if you would like to try it out. It is a free software, but the premium version has some nice upgraded features. You can set your tone of voice, your audience, etc., which is very nice. And it will give all these different, it will highlight all the different tools for updating and refining your text at the click of a button. And it even has a tool to check for plagiarism. But so with an unsolicited pitch, know who your audience is, know what they want, dive deeper into the business model. So how can you help them make a return on their investment? How does it make business sense for the other person to invest into your project? I highly recommend creating a investor profile, something like this. I'll put a link to this document in the description below as well. If you don't like to do that, also fine. Then with your film concept, make sure to create something that looks like this with a clear understanding of the data that you can fall back on. You can use this tool for audience market research. And then, use the unsolicited pitch template text to create a text for your treatment. Just use this as a blueprint. You don't have to include anything and everything. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, every problem is unique, so every solution needs to be unique. So you can use this as a blueprint to bounce off your ideas, to beat your writer's block, and get started as fast as possible. Also, I also included this resource because what is also interesting for an investor, if you can show like comparable data. So for example, with this website, if I type in Inception, I can find information about the movie, when it was produced, what it did at the box office, what the budget was, release days, etc. And this is all very tangible data for an investor to look at, and for them to make a decision whether or not your project is worth investing in. So if we go back to the presentation, so how to write for an unsolicited pitch. This is how you do it. Now, let's summarize this video, a very long one, and I hope it was very informative as well. So, summary, tailored approach. As I just mentioned, there is no universal template for using these exact words, chapters, and slides that will allow you to win every pitch. Each problem requires a custom solution. You can use a template. I've created templates. If you want to get access to those, you can purchase them via a link below in the description as well. And but you need to customize them because every problem is different, so every solution needs to be different. Then a success framework. So the framework of answering the 6 questions: who, what, how, where, when, and why provides a clear and direct path. Clear answers to these questions help build confidence in the client's mind that working with you is a low risk, high reward decision. So no matter if you're pitching unsolicited or solicited, answer these 6 questions. You will see in the template text for the unsolicited and the solicited pitch that the different chapters help you to formulate an answer to these 6 questions. So for a solicited approach, before writing your treatment, decipher the client brief and ask what information the client needs to know to hire you. Next, focus on how your ideas help them achieve the desired results. So fill in all the blanks from the project creative brief, and maybe formulate a original approach on paper. Give ChatGPT all the data and let it write something that you can use as a blueprint to get started. And then for an unsolicited approach, this project pitch focuses more on numbers and explaining why your idea is a great business investment. First, research the investor's business model, then align your ideas with their business goals. Otherwise, your pitch won't be perceived as valuable. So don't just say, I have an idea nobody has ever heard before, give me 50,000 euros. First, dive deeper into the business model that you want money from and formulate your idea in a way that it is an interesting investment opportunity for them. Now, let me summarize this video with a beautiful quote, is that you may not write well every day, but you can always edit a bad page. You can't edit a blank page. And that is the purpose of why I have created this video, created the templates, and why I am using ChatGPT to help me get started. Because beating the writer's block is the key to writing, and writing is all about rewriting. And in business, speed is power, speed is perfection. So you want to get started as fast as possible. And in modern day and age, you have to use tools that allow you to do that. So use ChatGPT, use the pitch template text that I've listed below. You can customize anything and everything. You can insert, exclude chapters as much as you like. ask the other person what they need to know to hire you for a solicited pitch and for an unsolicited pitch. Make sure that you create facts and data and make it a great business opportunity for the other person to invest in whatever it is that you have to offer. Now you can get access to everything that I've written with using ChatGPT via the links below. Download the files, go through it, so you get an idea and a better understanding of how you too can write pitch winning treatments. Use ChatGPT as well to create different tones of voice. If you have an audience who doesn't have experience with filmmaking jargon and references, make sure to prompt it to rewrite what you have written on a 5th grade level, or ask it to remove anything that might be unclear for an audience that doesn't know filmmaking. And go from there. So that's it. The 6th episode. I hope this was helpful. I hope you have learned something from this episode. The next video, I'll dive deeper into the design. First, I'll discuss the theory and the fundamentals that you need to understand of designing a treatment. And then I'm going to do a tutorial as well. So that was it for this video. I hope you have learned something. Once again, I'm not a filmmaking guru. I have no Oscars or Emmys on the shelf, but I hope that there is something within this course, one learning, one tool, one template that can help you land your next project at a lightning speed, because lightning speed in this case is important because treatments always arrive at inconvenient times and need to be delivered fast. So speed is perfection. That's it for now, and I hope to see you in the next one.